Hi everybody, we're back, and I'll show you what I did to keep the Guyana alive the entire time when she had her respiratory infection that turned into pneumonia. In the previous video I said it was, well, that's the reason why, is she had a bone disease in her spine. It was messing with her bone marrow, so therefore her body wasn't producing white blood cells correctly, and when that happens they start getting all these secondary bacteria infections, and that respiratory infection was one of them. But I was able to keep her totally decongested the entire time, since the beginning of June all the way up until here in August. What I used is, I took some of this, I kept her in a plastic tote, and I used some of this Vapor Rub. Now, a lot of veterinarians are not going to agree with this, alright? And I asked the one, I said, okay, please elaborate. Why? Alright, why? Because it's going to stress the animal out, he says. So let's think about this for a second. So this Vicks rub is going to stress her out, the vapors, to decongest her, but her choking to death is not going to stress her out, is what you're telling me. He just kind of looked at me and didn't say anything because he kind of knew I was right. Then you want to get a nebulizer. This one was USB. Also takes AAA batteries. This button on the back here slides off. This top plastic piece slides off, and you open this lid. Up here on the top, you just pop this open, and you want to use Hypertonic Saline solution. What that is going to do, it's going to turn, you're going to put this, one of these little tubes, you're going to twist the top off. One of these little tubes, you're going to twist the top off. You're going to pour it in the top here, and it's going to turn this into a vapor, and you put it in her face. You hold this button in, and you'll get not a complete pattern, you'll get like a intermittent spray like that. And I did about 100 of those in her nose twice a day while she was in her tub with the Vicks Vapor Rub. And what this is going to do, this mist, it's going to pull the moisture out of the bacteria and kill the cells. And this is what you should do. I kept her at 92 degrees to induce a slight fever. And this is a last resort if you have an animal that has a respiratory infection and antibiotics don't work. Because we had her on the antibiotics for that mass that was growing in her, and we didn't know, well, now we know it wasn't a mass. It was basically her spine was fragmented in 4 different pieces, but at first we thought it was a mass at this vet when we put her on Fortaz. And during that process, while she took 18 injections of Fortaz, 1 milliliter each for her 22-pound weight, and had no effect at all. And in fact, it had no effect with this respiratory infection coming on. She never should have even gotten a respiratory infection in the summertime, especially. Temperatures, like I said, were good. Humidity was good. Everything was good. But it was, like I said, it was because of her bone marrow going out from that spinal disease. But these are the tools you're going to need. You can get these off Amazon. This is for an animal that has a respiratory infection and antibiotics don't work, or you just simply are in an area and you have no access to any antibiotics whatsoever. Some people will put them in a tub with just the Vicks rub, and they will just turn up their heat and pray that that works. Sometimes that will decongest the snake, and this will actually pull the bacteria, the water out of the bacterial cells, and kill them. I was doing it for her every 8 hours, but you can probably get away with twice a day, and it's very effective. This was the medical tote I kept her in. Hair soaking, like I said, as you can see, how her scales were literally coming off, and how I had the Vicks nasal rub in there with the lid on. This was her medical tote. Got soaking in bleach. I'm gonna scrub it out real good. Gonna let it sit out here for about a week. Scrub it out real good and probably put our Christmas tree back in it. It was unfortunate, but that's what happens when you have no blood cells working correctly. Their scales will just start falling off, and that was pretty much the end of that. And I seen that 4 inches of her spine was missing on the x-rays completely, and her bone marrow was shot, but she definitely did not succumb to any bacterial infection or respiratory infection, that's for sure. Had to put her down, unfortunately. It was a very hard decision to make. I had a lot of effort into that animal, only for her to be taken out by a super rare bone disease on her spine. Yep, you follow those instructions, you'll be able to keep your snake decongested. Keep their temperatures up to 92. Their body temperature is going to induce a slight fever. That's what you want. Keep them decongested. And a normal respiratory infection on antibiotics should clear up in 2 weeks. Like I said, hers went on for months, and it never progressed any worse because that's what I was doing to keep her cleared up. I hope this information's helpful and will save someone's animal's life out there, because that's the #1 killer, is respiratory infections in captivity with these animals. We don't want to see that happen. That's all I have for now. You have a good day.